Hi guys! Hello. We're doing the Real Housewives of OC episode 2. So this is basically Dinner from Hell. That's the title because Heather apparently spent $36,000 for 11 guests. That's big money shit because I ain't doing none of that craziness. But Gina sets it off because the party was boring before Gina started the drama. So we do appreciate you, Gina. You were messy. Even on Watch What Happens Live, she was like, Andy, you guys need to thank me. And I think she's right, like for real, because that party was like a snooze fest. Heather was going, being her fake self. Oh, hi, hope everything is well. And Gina was like, I'm gonna set this shit up. So she goes to Heather. She's like, well, how are you friends with Nicole if she tried to see your husband, given it was 16 years ago? And apparently, from Heather's reaction, she had no clue, or she did not believe it would be brought up on this show because this is her return. She's trying to come back, clean slate. And second episode, we're talking about her husband being sued. Obviously, it doesn't bode well because Dr. Dubrow is known for his plastic surgery, helping people. But to be fair, being a doctor is like high risk. A whole bunch of people get sued, especially surgeries, because there's so much risk with surgeries. So I'm not surprised that he's had 1 or 2 lawsuits. That doesn't mean you're a bad doctor. But Heather is Miss Perfection, so this doesn't go with her storyline. So initially she's like, okay, then Shannon comes to sit down. And for some reason, Gina is getting louder and louder and louder. So Heather like walks away. At this point, she's like, it's over. Cut the cameras out. I don't want nothing. She's like, Terry, I'm ending the show. I'm done. I'm walking away. I'm kicking everyone out. I'm like, girl, calm the hell down. Just because they said your husband got sued 16 years ago, who cares? But Heather is fake as hell. I don't know why everyone is super excited about Heather. Like, she's not gonna bring, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe she will bring something, but to me, she's boring. She's pretentious. She's very new money because people with money don't talk about money. Like, why are you telling us how much you spent on the dinner? Yes, I ain't gonna spend the $36,000 for no 11 people. Like, I ain't that crazy. I ain't gonna spend $5,000. Like, that's crazy to me. If it was free, maybe, but with my own good work money, I ain't doing that stupid stuff. But she talks about money, which makes you know she's new money, and it's just upfront. But anyways, next thing, Emily is going off on the Nicole lady. I think that's her name. I hope I'm calling her the right name. Because the Nicole lady called her stupid, and apparently this is her trigger point. And she's like going off, calling the lady basically trailer park trash, that the lady ain't never got no education, that she has no job. I'm like, girl, I don't want to work. I wish I didn't have to work and I'll be 50. Like, that's the life I'm trying to live, sugar daddy type life. But anyways, I digress. So Emily goes off, comes back in. Noella seems very out of place, almost like she doesn't know who she is. She's trying to attach herself to different people. I'm like, girl, get your personality. Like, I loved her look. I liked the way she looked. I was really very interested in her because we already heard her husband was facing some financial stuff outside of the show. So I was very interested in her. But this episode, I was like, it was weird. She was following Shannon around. Then when Gina and Emily came back, she started following them, hugging them. You could tell these people don't know themselves from Adam, because even Nicole was like, girl, we met 20 minutes ago. You're not my friend. And she spoke facts. Like, Emily, you're not my friend. Sit your ass down. Anyways, everything kind of calms down. Heather is like, this wasn't the right place. But she's also looking at Shannon's side. Like, why would you bring this up? And you brought it up and you didn't tell me. Then Terry makes an appearance because he's trying to also clean up his stuff. He's like, well, I'm glad you withdrew the lawsuit. It wasn't a big deal. But he also says, like, doctors get sued. Like, this is not it's not like, he has a whole bunch of lawsuits. Like, a few lawsuits throughout your lifetime, that's not bad. I have a friend that is a doctor, and she got sued within 2 years of practicing. Homegirl was traumatized because that stuff is, like, annoying. You have to report it every job you get. And it affects your pay. It affects like your bargaining chip because it's like a huge thing, even though they know doctors get sued. So I get it, but Terry didn't have to appear. He didn't have to defend himself. They made it more than I feel like it was. He should have just been like, oh, but if they didn't even know that was the lady, that's weird that they didn't know she was the one. That is so weird. But we're in fake world. Maybe they're not real friends. Maybe it's one of those things where you're coming in as Heather's friends, but they're not actual friends. Because Terry is asking how long they've been friends for. Heather is like 6 years. How are they friends for 6 years and you don't know? Anyways, everything kind of goes away. Then we see Dr. Jen and her husband. I guess the guy doesn't work. That's the impression I'm getting, because he's like a house husband, which is a big job, but I'm not used to men not working. But she seems okay with it. She's trying to have a moment with this lunch they're having, and I was like, girl, bye. I don't think she's come back for season 2. Like, her storyline is rubbish, and we heard she got sued outside the show as well. She's also a doctor who does procedures. If you do procedures, you're high risk of getting sued, because it's stuff people can instantly see, people can instantly judge, and it just takes one hungry lawyer to convince your patient to sue you. So it is what it is. So I'm not saying she's a bad doctor or a good doctor one way or the other, but that's what's going on in the real world outside. Then Emily and her husband Shane go out. He finally passed his bar, because apparently the pass back, we found this out last episode. I don't even know what I'm talking about. The pass point was brought down, so he finally qualified. So he's now a full-fledged California lawyer. We're happy for him. And you're talking about religion, and her daughter is now interested because Shane's older daughters are into church and things like that, and Emily is just not into it. And she feels sad that she can't connect with them on this level. I'm like, girl, if they're good, they're good. Stop trying to stress yourself out. This is 2021. Ain't nobody trying to get stressed for nobody. Okay? Then what else happened? So Gina, Emily, and Heather meet. They talk about Shannon, and Shannon basically putting them on blast. And what was Shannon's intent? Shannon's intent was to start mess. You're on a reality show. Where are you? But I guess for the storyline, we have to act like we don't know some mess is supposed to start. But Shannon brought the tea. Gina set it off. First episode was boring, but this one is picking up. Did y'all see that Kelly is doing like recaps with Rick? I'm like, is this guy not like a whole news anchor for Fox News now? He's doing recaps on YouTube with poor lighting and poor production. They look sketchy. I'm gonna do a different video on that, because that was disturbing to see. But let me know what y'all thought about this episode. It was better than the first one. I'm interested. They got me now, because the first one was like a snooze fest, and this dinner was about to be a snooze fest. So thank you, Gina. You did what had to be done. All right, y'all. Bye. Like, subscribe, comment.